How to assemble and adjust the steering arm. For this job, you will need some high-performance grease, a rag, a torque wrench with a 5mm hex key attachment and a 4mm hex key attachment, a 5mm hex key, a 4mm hex key, two 13mm spanners, and two 17mm spanners. The steering arm comes partly installed on the bike and consists of three parts: the linkage, the transmission arm, and the ball joint. First, ensure that the handlebars and front wheel are facing straight ahead. Attach the ball joint to the fork. Unscrew the nut from the bolt and remove the bolt from the ball joint. Place the bolt and silver washer through the outermost hole in the fork from above. Grease the whole bolt and insert the ball joint onto it. Then place the black washer with the pocket facing upwards onto the bolt and tighten the nut using two 13mm spanners to 11 to 14 Nm. Next, you will need to adjust the length and height of the steering arm to ensure the arm does not hit the frame or the kickstand. Using a 5mm hex key, loosen the two bolts underneath the transmission arm by half a turn. This should allow for the adjustment of both the length and the height of the bar. Adjust the length of the arm by extending the bar so that only 1 cm can be seen from the linkage. Holding this in place, you can adjust the height. The arm should be no more than 1 cm away from the frame. Measure this distance at the bend in the arm and the corner of the bike frame. Tighten the two bolts with a torque wrench and 5mm hex key attachment to 7 Nm. You will now need to adjust the distance of the arm from the wheel. It's likely that the wheel will come into contact with the arm when turning left. Turn the front wheel left as far as it will go without force. The distance from the arm should be 1 cm. To adjust this, locate the screw and bolt on the linkage closest to the steering down tube. And holding the 5mm hex key in place, unscrew the nut by a few turns using a 13mm spanner. Next, using the hex key, unscrew the bolt until it is stopped by the nut. Check the distance between the wheel and the arm. It should have increased. If the distance is still too close, repeat this process, and if the distance is too much, screw the bolt back in slightly. When the correct distance has been found, hold the bolt in place with the hex key and screw the nut tight with the spanner. Then align and secure the ball joint. Using a 17mm spanner, align the ball joint so the flat surface is parallel to the fork tab. Then tighten the nearest nut to the steering arm. Then the middle nut against the ball joint, both to 15 to 18 Nm. Finally, check the alignment of the handlebars. It's best to do this with the bike on the ground. Standing over the frame of the bike, check the alignment of the handlebars with the wheel. To make adjustments, use a 4mm hex key or a 6mm hex key for an MJ stem to loosen the bolts on the handlebar stem so you can turn the handlebar without the front wheel moving. Turn the handlebar so that it aligns with the front wheel and retighten the bolts to 6 Nm or 8 Nm for an MJ stem.